Good morning, Van Buren.
Good morning.
Good morning. It'll be just a moment.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good morning. Morning, Your Honor.
Stand right here. Stand right here.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir. You are Bert Scott, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Scott, just confirming some information. Got your address on East Churn River Drive, is that correct?
Yeah.
Phone number 829-8961.
Yep.
All right. Do you have an email address, sir?
No, Judge.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Scott, I understand you have decided to go forward today without benefit of an attorney, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to arraign you. The paperwork I've got says the date of the offense was September 12, 2021. The charge is assault or assault and battery, which is a misdemeanor. Carries a possible penalty of up to 93 days in jail, up to $500 fines, plus court costs. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you, generally speaking, you understand your rights, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, how do you wish to plead?
Not guilty.
All right, I'm going to hook you up with a pretrial date. It'll be September 28. at 9:10. That's going to be in courtroom 1. The nice officer is going to give you a written notice. You'll want to hang on to it. Our case number is 21-0709. And Mr. Scott, are you working?
No, sir.
When's the last time you held a job, please?
On paper, probably about 2 years ago.
All right. And is the complainant in this matter Mr. Dinsemo? Is that someone that you know, or is that a stranger to you?
I guess that's his name. I don't know. Could you tell me the first name?
I'm going to pronounce it, and I'm not sure if I'm right or not. I'm going to pronounce it Camo.
Yeah, that's it. That's him.
All right.
Yeah, we're staying at the same place
Okay. All right. Where was that at?
at Eastern River Drive there.
All right. Is that a motel? What is that?
No, it's my buddy owns a house and he rented me out a room and I pay me on rent. I don't know what their arrangement is.
All right.
The other guy, I don't know.
Can you find somewhere else to hang your head for a while until we resolve this matter?
Well, I sure would, Judge. Like I said, I don't know if you can see this thing, but I've got an IV pick in my arm. And the last thing I want to do is get in a fight with a young fella. I mean, I'm 57 years old. And yeah, I mean, sure, I guess if I have to. Because all you got to do is rip this out.
If he's staying at that Eastern River Drive address, I don't want you back there.
Yeah, because if he rips that out, it could be curtains for me.
Sure.
What's your last name, Judge?
Oakley, just like the sunglasses.
Okay, yeah, we went to the same Albermont, Ramos.
I'm sorry?
You went to Ramos High, didn't you?
I did, long time ago.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put you on a personal bond, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Judge.
First condition is don't go back to that address. Now, if you have to go back to pick up some personal
I'm gonna have to get
property,
some clothes and medicine. I'm gonna have to get my medicine.
Make sure you listen. Give him a chance.
Sorry, Judge.
Okay, you can set it up with a PD to go back with a civil standby. The cops will go with you to make sure there's no further problems between you gentlemen. Then you can pick up your personal property and your medications. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right, second condition, I don't want you to have any contact with that individual. So if you run into that individual at a gas station or party store or something, you turn and go the other way. So if they're at Taco Bell, you're eating burgers.
Right now, I got it.
And last condition is we need you to participate on the 28th of September via Zoom at 9:10 in the morning. Do you have any questions?
And where will that be now? Where will I be at on the 28th?
It's a pretrial by Zoom, so it's virtual court. If you have no ability to get on a computer, then you can show up that day in person.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm and acknowledge the debt payable to the court amount of $1,000 if you violate bond?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, officers. Stay safe.
Thank you, Judge. See you.
Hello, Judge Nancy. This one. Which one? Forenchi or Smith? Oh, Oakley. You know about this case, not this judge. Ooh, I'm sliding out of this chair. I'm moving. I'm switching chairs. I'm gonna slide out of the chair. That's not good. Yeah. What? So everybody's here. We're just waiting for Miss Quick to finish up. Yep. My officer went to the department. Yeah, we're good then. Okay, good. going to step out for just a second. Since we are waiting for Miss Quick. I'm not the only hold up, that's right. So the lady can't really get going.
You want to wait out there until it changes.
That's fine. You know, I already have supervision for that, so we'll just leave that open at least for the time being.
Have a seat. Which one's the waiver?
I believe Smith is going to be the waiver, Your Honor.
That's correct.
Are we ready on that one, counsel?
People
Yes.
are ready.
All right, let's have appearances on the People versus John Smith.
Good morning, Your Honor. Larry King. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Larry King for the people.
It's always morning somewhere.
78774.
Glad it's not morning here still. Good morning, or good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Cheryl Quick from Neighborhood Defender Service on behalf of John Smith, PA 3973.
All right.
This is just out of the hallway.
All right, let's have Mr. Smith come in just for a second, please. Mr. Smith, good afternoon. Ms. Quick tells me you're going to waive your exam, is that correct? Yes. You understand the purpose for that exam? Sir, you understand the purpose for that exam?
Oh, yeah.
And you've discussed your rights with counsel. You understand those rights and the options they present?
Yes.
You understand a waiver means this file goes downtown for your next court date. Is that correct?
Yes.
Understanding all of that, do you in fact want to waive this exam?
Yes.
And are you doing so freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
I'll enter the waiver. Arraignment on information is September 27 at 9 a.m. Counsel, I do need signatures. If you'll come on up. Ken, you got it? Thanks, counsel. Appreciate it.
And for the record of the court, people have no objection to the waiver, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, you are all set. Your bond is continued. I wish you luck downtown. You're welcome. Now let's have appearances for the people versus Jesse. Is it Florenci?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Larry King, 4th P 78774.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Neighborhood Defender Service by Cheryl Quick, P83973, on behalf of Jesse Allen Florenci, who is to my left.
Thank you, Mr. Florenci. Yes. They train them to talk to me on their feet. You're okay. Let's get started.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people are prepared to proceed. At this point, the people would call to the stand Mr. Christopher LaBelle.
And Your Honor, if I see nobody in the courtroom, I would just move to sequester.
Sequester.
No objection to sequestration order.
Thank you.
May I go retrieve Mr. LaBelle?
Please. Actually, I'll swear him in. Raise your right hand. Swear or affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Right up here. Watch your step on this ramp, Mr. LaBelle. Have a seat right here in this chair. Settle in. State your name.
Christopher LaBelle.
Thank you. Mr. King, your witness.
Thank you, sir. Sir, so they get it right in the court's records. Could you please spell your first name and your last name?
CHRISTOPHER. Last name LA, capital B as in boy, ELLE.
Mr. LaBelle, do you know a person by the name of Jesse Florenci?
Yes, I do.
And how do you know Mr. Florenci?
I've been dating his wife, ex-wife, for about 5 or 6 months now.
And who would that be, sir?
Teresa Florenci.
The person that you know as Mr. Florenci, have you been in contact with him in the past?
Yes.
Have you seen him in person in the past?
Oh, yes.
Do you see the person that you know as Mr. Jesse Florenci present here in court today?
Yes, I do.
Could you please tell the court where he's seated and what he's wearing?
He's behind you on the green shirt. With the
Your
beard.
Honor, the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant. Sir, I want to talk with you about August the 6th of this year in the early morning hours, approximately 6 o'clock in the morning. Where were you at that time?
I was at Rosa over in New Boston.
What is that?
It's a company I work for.
Okay. And that's in, you said New Boston?
Yes.
Would that be in Sumter Township or Huron Township?
It's right next. I know the Huron police station was right down the road, but I'm not sure what township.
And is that within County of Wayne?
Yes.
And was anyone else there with you at that time?
Yeah, I was there with Teresa.
Okay.
Yes,
And where were you about?
in my car,
In your vehicle? And what vehicle do you drive, sir?
a 2005 Lincoln Town Car.
And where was Teresa?
She was working. She had asked me to come up there because she was having
I'm going to
problems with
object
Jesse.
to anything that Ms. Florenci said is hearsay.
I'm sorry.
Sustained.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the
So
question?
she had asked you to come up there.
Yes, she did.
We can leave it there.
Yes.
Okay. So did you have occasion to see or make contact with Mr. Florenci that day?
Yes.
And about when did that occur?
The first time was 3 o'clock in the morning, and then the The next instance, we're at 6 o'clock, which is what we're here for.
So talking about 6 o'clock in the morning, you were present at the location you testified to earlier, correct?
Yes, sir.
Just for clarity's sake, is that near the intersection of Huron Road and westbound 275?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you come to contact with Mr. Florici at that time?
Teresa was getting out of work.
Okay.
I received a phone call to go
From who?
from Teresa.
Okay. So without stating what she said,
Correct.
did that phone call prompt you to do anything?
Yes, to go to a different side of the building where there was another exit.
Okay. And what did you do after that?
Proceeded to pull around, and that's when Mr. Florenci had approached us in his vehicle.
Okay. So where was Mrs. Florici? Where was Teresa?
At that point, she was in the passenger seat of my car.
Okay. So she had gotten into the passenger seat of your car, and then you stated that Mr. Florici approached you in his vehicle?
Yes.
And what is that vehicle, sir?
It's a gold PT Cruiser.
And when you say approached you, what specifically did he do?
Drove right up to us and in front of us to pretty much block us in.
Okay. Did he say anything at that time?
I'm sorry?
Did he say anything at that time?
I know he was in his vehicle.
And what happened next?
He pulled around behind us. I went to pull out into the other parking lot or onto the main road, out that exit. And Mr. Florenci then ran into the back of my car.
Okay. When you state ran into the back of your car, what exactly did you feel?
A pretty nice bump.
Okay. And where were you within the vehicle?
I was driving at that point, still in the parking
And
lot.
where was Teresa at that point?
In the passenger seat.
And how did you know that the quote pretty large bump that you felt was caused by Mr. Florici?
He was right behind us.
Okay. Did you observe any damage to your vehicle as a result of this?
Not at that moment, but yes,
Not at
there
that
was.
moment, but eventually, did you
Correct.
come to observe any damage to your vehicle?
Yes, sir.
And what was that, sir?
A cracked fender or rear bumper, excuse me.
Cracked rear bumper?
Yes.
Okay. So after this bump, what happened?
I then pulled around to the other side of the parking lot to switch seats. I'm not currently licensed, and me being in the parking lot, I figured it was okay, but we went to switch seats.
Okay. What was the next thing that happened after that?
We pulled out onto Huron Road. We were driving to get up to the expressway, which is 275. We were going to head northbound, I believe it was.
Okay.
And the gold PT Cruiser was parked on the side of the road on the overpass. At that point, Jesse got behind us. We went to get on the expressway, and that's when he rammed into the car the second time.
Okay, so when you say Jesse got behind us, you talked about a gold PT Cruiser that he was operating. Did you have occasion to see Mr. Florici in the driver's seat of that vehicle at that time?
Yes, he was yelling out the window.
Okay. And this was in the morning hours. Was it daylight out?
Yeah.
Was anything obstructing or obscuring your view?
Not at all.
You stated he was yelling out the window?
Yes.
And what type of things was he saying?
I couldn't hear. We were passing by.
And you stated that as you were headed towards the expressway, his vehicle struck your vehicle.
Yes.
Did he say anything at that point in time?
He was behind us. I couldn't tell.
Okay. What part of his vehicle made contact with what part of your vehicle?
Front grill, front bumper. I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't seen his vehicle.
But what part of your vehicle was
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the back bumper again.
Okay. About how fast were you traveling at that point in time?
We were parked.
You were parked.
We were at a stop sign before the actual on-ramp.
Okay. And who was driving at that point in time?
Teresa was.
And sir, what's the next thing that happened?
We got on the expressway. Mr. Florenci continued to follow us. There's construction on the expressway, so it's only one lane.
Okay.
He proceeded to drive alongside of us, swerving at us. At that point, we got on the phone with the police.
Okay. When you said swerving at you, what specifically was he doing?
Oh, jerking his wheel to move the car towards us to run us off the road.
And how did you feel?
Pretty intimidated.
Okay. Did you believe there was a risk of his vehicle hitting your vehicle?
Oh, yeah.
You said you called 911 at that, or you called the police at that time,
Yes.
correct?
911.
And about what time was that? Do you recall?
It was probably at that point 10 after 6.
And how fast were you traveling at that point in time?
I think it's between 45 and 60. I think that, yeah, it's posted.
The lane that Mr. Florenci was operating his vehicle in, was that a closed lane?
It was the shoulder. It
Was the
wasn't even a
shoulder.
lane. It was the shoulder of the road.
And what was the next thing that you recall happening?
There were actually police, state police ahead of us. They were helping somebody with a tire, it looked like, they were assisting someone. At that point, Jesse had sped off, forward, and being on the phone with the police, I was directed to make it to the police station in Huron. They let me know that it was a good idea to pass the exit that we would normally get off at to travel a different route.
Okay, and what did you do then?
Well, we passed that exit, didn't see the gold PT Cruiser, and I believe the next exit, I don't know, Eureka Road. And at that point, when we were getting off at the off-ramp, the PT Cruiser
And this
came.
will be the off-ramp 275 in Eureka?
Correct.
Okay, so we were exiting onto Eureka Road from 275, and you said something about the gold PT Cruiser. What was that?
Came flying up behind us again. It swerved around us. He then parked at, I'd say, maybe a 45-degree angle in front of us to block us.
Okay. So I just want to get this in. You're on the off-ramp, getting off the freeway. Does this occur on the off-ramp, near the off-ramp? Where does it
Right
occur?
up by the stop, right up by the light.
Okay, so as the
All the way up to
off-ramp
Eureka.
meets the road,
Correct.
there's a stop, is that right?
Correct.
And this occurred near that intersection?
Right in front of it, yes.
Okay. So you had stated that the PT Cruiser pulled in front of you to block
Correct.
you. And was there anybody in the PT Cruiser?
Jesse,
Anybody else?
no,
Were you able to see him clearly?
he got out of the vehicle.
He got out of the vehicle. Okay, what happened when he got out of the vehicle?
He approached my vehicle. He then hit my passenger mirror and broke my mirror off of my car.
Okay. Did he say anything at that point in time?
Yelling. I couldn't make out, couldn't understand. Things were happening fast. Sir.
How so did he hit your mirror?
I'm sorry?
What did he hit your mirror with?
His fist. Perhaps an open palm, but his hand.
Okay, and was there damage to your vehicle then?
Yeah, it broke the mirror off.
Okay. And that was which side?
The passenger side.
Okay, what happened at that point in time, sir?
I told Teresa to put the car in reverse and get the hell out of there.
Was she still the driver of the vehicle at this
Yes.
point in time? Okay, and what was the next thing that you recall happening?
Jesse had hit my window. Teresa then put the car in drive. Jesse then kicked. I'm not sure if it was my headlight or the front quarter panel of my vehicle. I didn't see any damage afterwards. But
Did you feel this kick?
No, just heard it. Watched it, heard
Okay.
it.
And then what happened?
We turned right onto Eureka. The PT Cruiser continued to follow us. We then made a right onto the first road, which was Wayne Road.
Okay.
PT Cruiser continued to follow us. It went around us. He got in front of us and slammed on his brakes.
And what happened at that
Pretty
point?
violently. Put the car in reverse, and the PT Cruiser then did a 180 and started coming at us head on.
Okay. And as the vehicle was heading at you head on, what road were you on?
Wayne Road.
Okay. And which lane of travel were you in?
This was like the middle of the road. There were no other vehicles on the road at that point.
And as the vehicle was coming towards you, how did you feel?
He already ran into me twice. He was going to hit us.
And who was driving the vehicle at that point in time?
Teresa and Jesse.
Okay. Teresa was driving which
My
vehicle?
vehicle, correct.
Your vehicle being the.
2005 Lincoln Town Car.
Okay. What happened next?
Teresa swerved around Jesse. He then pulled another 180, continued to follow us. Approaching the next road, which would be Sibley Road, there's actually a boulevard or like a split to where traffic can, one go out to the right and then the people coming on. As he's driving alongside of us, the PT Cruiser Jesse, Teresa kind of stayed in that lane.
Okay. And as she was staying in that lane, what did the PT Cruiser do?
It forced him to make a left or to go on the other side of the boulevard.
And
So,
what happened next?
We then turned right onto Sibley Road to get back onto the expressway to head to Huron Police Station.
Did you make it to the police station?
Correct.
Was
Yes,
there
we
any
did.
further contact with Mr. Florici at that time?
Not by his vehicle, but there were text messages with pictures sent of their children. He went and took the children out of the grandmother's
I'm gonna
house.
object to this, there's no foundation.
I'll move on. It wasn't where I was going with those line of questions.
Gotcha, but no other contact with the
So
vehicle.
you went to the police station, you made.
Correct.
Sir, talk about your vehicle. Did your vehicle, you had already testified to the bumper being cracked. Did it sustain any other damage?
Yes, the mirror.
Okay.
It broke.
Any other damage beyond the mirror?
No.
And have you made efforts to have the vehicle repaired?
Yes, I went and got estimates.
Where did you go?
I don't recall the name of the place. It's on the form that I turned into the police station.
Wow. You took your vehicle to was it a repair shop?
Yes. Collision shop.
And has the vehicle been fixed as of yet?
I can't afford it, no.
Did the repair shop indicate to you how much it would cost to repair the vehicle?
Yes, I believe it was around $1,500. I'm not sure on the exact dollar amount.
Was it more than $1,000 to repair the damage to the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Was the quote that you received solely for the damage sustained to the vehicle as a result of this incident?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to, can I step out in the hallway just 1 second? I want to
Sure.
see if my officer in charge has returned with something. I'll be right back. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Quick, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lavelle, you said that you drove to Bros, correct? On the morning of the 6th?
No, I rode with Teresa. She drove my vehicle.
You drove to there to pick her up, is what I believe you testified to.
No, I did not. I was driving in the parking lot to pick her up. I slept out in the vehicle.
Okay.
I was not working that evening. I had not started yet. I was starting, I believe, a week later.
So she drove the vehicle there, you slept in the parking lot?
Yeah, she came out on break and her and I visited. That was the first altercation with them. And I stayed in the vehicle for her protection.
Okay. But when she left, you were driving initially. She got into the passenger seat,
In the parking lot,
correct?
correct.
Okay. And did you exit the parking lot?
Yes,
Okay, and you were driving at that time?
yes, to pull into the other side of the parking lot.
And that's when you said that Mr. Florenci first tapped your bumper, is that right?
He ran into the back of my car in the parking lot.
Okay, is that because you suddenly put on your brakes when you hit the guard check?
Not at all.
Okay,
There's a stop sign before you pull out onto the main road.
okay. But you didn't quickly brake?
Not at all.
To force him, he was following closely behind you, is that right?
Yes,
Okay. And you said that there were police officers on 275 up ahead of you,
correct.
and that was around the exit that you would normally get off at?
No, it was probably a quarter mile, between a quarter and a half mile. There's a turnaround that police use or other vehicles use on the expressway to go from northbound to southbound. There was a car pulled over and officers assisting them.
And when you called 911, it was your intention when you hung up to actually stop and talk to those police officers, correct?
Yes, but at that point, we didn't see Mr. Florenci anymore.
Okay, so you didn't stop,
No, we did not.
okay. And you didn't get off at Sibley, correct?
No, we did not.
And it would have been your normal exit?
Yes, it would have.
Okay. Now, do you know where Mr. Florenci lives?
Yeah.
And it is off of the Eureka Road exit, correct?
That I'm not quite sure. It's in Taylor. I'm still kind of new to the area. I know where his house is, but as far as coming from that direction, I'm not sure.
So you're saying that you don't know that Eureka Road is his normal exit?
No, I don't.
You had recently purchased the 2005 town car as of that day in August, correct?
I believe 3 or 4 days before that.
Okay. And you're saying there was no damage to the vehicle when you purchased it?
No. Great condition.
The estimate that you received from the repair shop, is that strictly for the broken mirror?
The mirror and the rear bumper.
Rear bumper. And you said the rear bumper is cracked.
Yes, it is.
Are there any paint scuffs on the rear bumper?
Yeah, it's missing some paint.
Okay, is there any coloring from another vehicle on that bumper?
No,
No, so there's no gold paint.
no.
Okay. And you couldn't hear anything that Mr. Florenci was saying at any point in time?
No.
Did it appear he was trying to get your attention or Teresa's attention?
He came and he hit my window and hit the mirror.
I'm sorry, that was a bad question. Prior to you leaving the parking lot at Rose, was he attempting to talk to her about something?
Your Honor, I'd object. I think this is calling for speculation. It's asking the witness to speculate as to what the intentions of Mr. Florenci were.
I can rephrase.
Yeah.
Did you hear Mr. Florenci say anything that would indicate he was seeking anything from Teresa?
Yes, we were told by Mr. Florenci that we were to follow him to an ATM to get him money. When Teresa had told him no, he then demanded her bridge card. When she told him no, he then asked for some of her medication.
And at that time, was he saying anything to her about the status of the children that they have in common?
There's nothing
Or
about,
anything that they might need?
nothing about the children.
You don't recall anything like that?
No.
I can have just a minute, Your Honor.
Sure.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Mr. King, any redirect?
Obviously, I'd seen it before because I haven't seen it before. For the record, well, Mr. Florenci was being cross-examined. My officer in charge came in and handed me a document. I've now handed that document to Ms. Quick. She's reviewed.
Thank you. Mr. LaBelle will be cross-examined for the record.
Mr. LaBelle will be cross-examined in reference to this document. So the document that I handed Ms. Quick, I'd like to remove, and I'd like to approach the request to be marked as people's proposed one. And may I approach the witness?
Sure.
Approaching the witness and handing him the same. Sir, I've just handed you a document. Have you seen that document before?
Yep, this is the estimate.
The estimate in reference to what?
To my vehicle, to the bumper and to the mirror.
So did you physically go and take your vehicle to the repair shop listed on that estimate?
Yes, I did.
And did you request that they tell you how much it would cost to repair the damage to your car as a result of this accident?
Yes, sir.
And is that the document that they prepared and gave to you?
Yes, sir.
Sir, that has an estimated total repair amount on it. What is that?
$1,491.84.
And is that a true and accurate copy of the estimate that you received?
Yes.
Move for admission of People's One.
Ms. Quick,
No objection.
that'll come in, thank you.
Handing that to the court.
Thank you.
Nothing further.
Ms. Quick, anything else?
No further questions.
All right. Mr. LaBelle, you can step down. Thank you for your
Great,
time.
thank you.
Mr. King, next witness.
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Any witnesses from the defense?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
I'm ready for argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people move to bind the defendant over as charged with an amendment. The people would move to amend count 3, malicious destruction of personal property, 200 or more but less than 1,000. We would amend to increase that pursuant to MCL 750-377A1B1 to a felony offense of malicious destruction of personal property with a dollar value of 1,000 or more but less than 20,000, based on the testimony as it was presented today. As to the assault with a dangerous weapon, it is clear by the testimony of the complaining witness that while the motor vehicle was being occupied by both Mr. LaBelle and Ms. Florenci, the defendant repeatedly made contact with that motor vehicle, ramming his vehicle into their motor vehicle, swerving his vehicle in the direction of their vehicle on the shoulder of an expressway in an attempt to run the vehicle off the road, which caused great fear into Mr. LaBelle and logically would have caused fear into the driver of the vehicle at that point in time, Ms. Florenci. I think the testimony about the head-on, almost playing chicken in the middle of a public road also supports the fact that there was a felonious assault committed with a dangerous vehicle. Essentially, what Mr. Florenci did is he turned his vehicle into a weapon and used it to instill fear in the occupant and operator of this other motor vehicle. So, in your honor, and again, Mr. LaBelle testified to the damage of his vehicle, and the court has the exhibit marked, which is the repair damage to the vehicle, and he did testify that that damage was not pre-existing and was caused by Mr. Florenci. So for those reasons, your honor, the people move to bind over with the proposed charge.
Just quick.
Your Honor, we would object to the bind over as to count one. There was no testimony from a Teresa Florenci as to whether or not she was reasonably in fear of Mr. Florenci. They obviously have a relationship together. They have known each other. And so failing any testimony from her as to how she felt about what was going on, or if she was reasonably in fear of him, we would object to the bind over as to count one.
Any argument as to the other counts, Ms. Quick?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. King, would you like to respond as to the argument on count one?
As to the argument on count one, your honor, there was testimony that the vehicle, well operated by Mrs. Florenci, was traveling down a freeway, which was a one-lane road, at which point in time Mr. LaBelle came up and swerved his vehicle into the vehicle operated by Mrs. Florenci, repeatedly causing her to swerve to avoid being struck. Additionally, while Mrs. Florenci was driving the vehicle on a public road, the defendant operated his vehicle head-on, accelerating towards her, causing her to swerve and leave her initial path of travel in order to avoid being hit. I think the actions of the motor vehicle driver avoiding the striking by Mr. Florenci's vehicle is indicative of the fact that she was in fact in fear.
Ms. Quick, do you know of any case law that says that the alleged victim has to testify as to her fear?
I don't have any case law this afternoon that I can provide the court now.
I'm not aware of any either. I'll bind over on all counts. That gives us an AOI date of September 27th.
Thank you, Your Honor. When the court states bind over on all counts, would that be with the amendment?
I'm sorry, yeah, for the record, thank you for the clarification. So it's going to be sub B instead of sub C on count 3.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Bond is continued. Good luck downtown, Mr. Florenci.
Your Honor, would the court allow an argument as to bond?
Sure.
Mr.
Hold on,
Florenci.
let's make sure we're all on the same page. Right now, it's $250,000, 10%,
Correct.
and no contact.
Correct.
House arrest with GPS tether. Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, Mr. Florenci has been in custody since his arrest that day. He was cooperative with law enforcement when they went to his house. He was arrested without any incident. He's been in custody ever since. He does not have 10% of $250,000. He does not have anything close to $25,000. He was working. He has 3 children with Ms. Florenci, and last I heard, CPS is actually getting involved because Mr. Florenci had been in custody, and there's an issue as to the care of the children because he was a primary caretaker for them, and now his family is stepping in. And so he's very concerned about the welfare of his kids, and we would just ask the court to impose a more reasonable bond or a personal bond with a GPS tether, which would force him to stay home if or unless he was at work or doing something for the children.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the arguments being made by defense in this case. However, the court is aware these charges are serious. We have actions that took place, not just endangering the people involved, but the general public, given the testimony that was provided today of these things that occurred on public roadways. The defendant has an extensive criminal history, including a 2015 case with very similar charges, assault with a dangerous weapon and malicious destruction, which he pled guilty to the assault with a dangerous weapon. He has a, like I said, a lengthy criminal history. Our victims are in fear were he to be released. So, I would object to bond modification at this point in time.
I've got a note in the file that on August 18, pretrial services was ordered. Was there a review by pretrial services? I don't see a report. Anybody know?
You know, I do believe you are correct. When last we were before the court did refer this to for a DSU report. I have not received a report, but I never do.
No, I don't either. And I believe I have a note that it was ordered, but I do not have a report or a note that we had discussed the,
Let me review my ROA and see if we ever got a report. Doesn't look like we ever received any response. All right, Ms. Quick, this was my bond originally at arraignment. I thought it was reasonable then. I think it's reasonable now. I would have liked to see what pretrial services had to say, but as it is, I'm going to continue the bond until you get downtown. Good luck, Mr. Florentine. Mr. King?
Your Honor, did the
exhibit.
court provide an AOI date? I didn't have an opportunity.
September
to check.
27th.
September
9 a.m.
27th? 27th.
Yep, 2 weeks from today.
Isn't it generally 1 week if he's in custody?
Oh, you know what? Thank you. Yes, I did. I had 2 weeks in my mind from the other exam, or the waiver. Thank you. So, Mr. Florentine, it won't be the 27th, it'll be the 20th. Thank you, Mr.
thank
King.
you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Seriously, she's back off a day, she can't finish the day? She's not gonna get a week off again. She can't handle it. I'll shut down up here.
I currently have 207 cases, including 5 murders, 19